Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports and entertainment talk show about the New York Giants, the New York Mets, movies, TV, comedy, and a whole lot more. It's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the Real Cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a plump and furry Irish-Italian-American who graduated from a Catholic high school but isn't Catholic, and a private research university known for producing doctors and lacrosse players, and I ended up researching my privates. You can leave me a voicemail at 862-248-1986. That's the last time the Giants and Mets both won the World Championship in their respective sports. You can subscribe to Giant Mess on YouTube. Follow me on my official blog, neallynch.com. Go to facebook.com/giantmess. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Handle is Real Cinch, and you can subscribe to Giant Mess in audio form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever the fudge you listen to your gosh darn audio. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about my thoughts on WandaVision. First two episodes came out on Disney+. I finished Queen's Gambit. I wanted to say season 1, but I think there's only one season. And I'm pretty far deep into Lovecraft Country, so I'll give you my thoughts on those. No movies this week. I did watch some movies, but I didn't do enough to give you what you need in terms of reviews, so we're going to skip movies this week, and then we'll talk about the Giants, some decisions on some impending free agents, Wayne Gallman, Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams. We'll also talk about some options out there on the market. What free agents make sense? Which free agents can we afford? And then we'll go over some more mock drafts from PFF and some I did a couple mock drafts of my own. Don't mean to brag. And then we'll finish up with the Mets. The elation from the Francisco Lindor trade, and then the utter shame of Jared Porter, our GM, getting fired for sexting a reporter. We'll also talk about some remaining offseason needs. So with that, let's dive right on in. Let's talk a little bit about life. Life is grand. Life is good, right? Let us thank God for our food, something like that. I went to, first and foremost, I went and got the antibodies test. Haven't done the antibodies test yet, and I'm a little confused by the results. Okay? I made an appointment online. I thought for some reason that they would be like shipping me the materials and I would be, tying one off and injecting myself, or I don't know, providing spit, poop, hair. I don't know, something like that. I'm dying to do that, by the way. I am dying to give some scientific minded person my hair, my saliva, my poop, my sweat, anything that is on me. I want to give it to them and then have them tell me everything I need to know. And I don't think that exists. Like January is always a big time to diet fads and all that jazz. And so I'm looking into I listen to 101.9 FAN, New York Sports Radio, the first and best of its kind. And, they always have ads for njdiet.com and Princeton Longevity Center. And it's like those hit home in January. Because it's like I just pushed my body to the freaking limit over the holidays, where it was just not sane what I was doing. It was just like, I'm just going to see. It was like 2000s How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, where he gets invited to Whoville. He goes down and he's like the Grandmaster, Keymaster, whatever the hell they're calling him. And all the townspeople have made their own puddings and desserts and pastries and baked goods and whatnot. And he has to judge each type of baked good. So brownies, boom, 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 boom. That was me. Just screw it. Why not? Just shove another one in my mouth. Why not? And then January is it starts to sink in that you did a lot of harm to yourself, and you avoid the scale over the holidays, and then you come back in January and you're like, all right, so I binged a little bit. I mean, how bad could it be? And then I got on the scale one Sunday night, and this was after, was it New Year's weekend or maybe the following weekend? Yeah, it might have been like the wild card weekend, NFL. And I got on the scale like Sunday night. First of all, they say don't ever weigh yourself at night because that's when you're the heaviest. Is because you haven't really digested all your food. You got a day's worth of food in you. And the best time to weigh yourself is in the morning. And I was like, nah, come on, how bad could it be? I got on the scale and the scale said, do you really want to know? Are you dying to know right now what you weigh? How much the Earth's gravitational pull is really pulling you down? Do you want to know? And 247. So I think the digital scale might be broken. I don't understand how I could be, at like 230 something, like mere days before, and then 247. I think I'm always have this like crazy fear that I'm like John Wayne. Not in the sense that I'm a racist cowboy. Okay, Pilgrim. In the sense that one fun fact, or it's not fun, I don't think. It might not even be a fact. Is that John Wayne died with like 64 pounds of impacted feces in his colon. And so when I see 247, I think to myself, I just probably got a huge blockage somewhere. There's just something that's stuck somewhere in my innards that I just need to jostle loose. And then that 10 pounds, that 20, 30, 40 pounds will come right off. I just need to I've been dying to get an enema, basically. I feel like once it's just something's clogging the tubes because I feel like of course I eat like shit over the holidays, but most days I eat pretty healthy and I'm able to withhold myself. But it's this introduction of the cheat day that has come into my life where you see like The Rock on Instagram eating like 15 pizzas and you're like, oh, The Rock does it on one day. So I can do it for one day. And no, I can't because I don't work out like The Rock during the week. I'm not operating at his level during the week. So I can't. So, okay, I can eat as much as him on that Sunday cheat day, but I'm not doing what he's doing during the week. So I need to wrap my head around that and recalibrate. Yeah, but like, njdiet.com and Princeton Longevity Center, it's like, they're expensive. I looked into the cost and they're pretty expensive, but it's just like, I want to be tested and poked and prodded and just have a full ass report that just says like, don't eat this. And it's like, I already know what not to eat, but now I'm getting to the point where it's like, but I think even the healthy things I eat are not good for me. Like I'm starting to think like I have a handful of almonds every day, but most college football recruiters would say, no, Neal, you don't have big hands. And it's like, no, I guess I don't have big hands. I mean, I don't, if I did, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be Russell Wilson. So when I get a handful, still you're supposed to fit like a serving of food, whatever you're eating in the palm of your hand. And like, that's it. That's what you eat for that serving or that meal. And it's like, I usually go for a fistful of almonds, which almonds, you're supposed to eat like 2 because they're so friggin' jam packed with calories and energy that you don't need 11,000. So, but not me. I'd grab a fistful, which is probably not great. And that's after I eat lunch. So it's like, maybe if that was my lunch, but this is like my little post lunch snack that makes me feel better about myself. Oh man, what a sad, tragic existence. But, yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that, but I want you to know that I'm looking into it, that 247 is unacceptable. 240 is like, that's Homer Simpson's weight. I am Homer Simpson, but I'm pretty sure Homer Simpson was not 6 foot. I mean, I'm 5'11" and 3/4, but you round up at 6 foot. So I'm pretty sure he wasn't 6 foot, but maybe he was. I'm also older than Homer Simpson now, which is just, that's tough to handle. I don't know if I can really grasp that. Yeah. So not that I was going to go on a, the NJ diet, I read into it a little bit. And it's basically like, it's just like a crash diet. Just like, yeah, you can lose a ton of weight when you're eating like 500 calories a day and taking a bunch of fat burners. And I've taken fat burners before and it's not good. I almost bit my sister's head off when she was in high school. And I almost grinded my teeth to dust. So I don't know if fat burners are the answer. I don't handle caffeine or any kind of energy that well, because I'm so low energy, but you give me just a taste and it's like, I want all the energy. And it's just like, I feel like I'm operating, on a higher thetan level, if you will, can see the future. And then you can start to come down off and you're like, wow, I really went off the rails there for a good chunk of time where I thought I was indestructible. Anyway, I went to a small dinner with friends for my friend's 40th in the Broken, aka Hoboken. It was a great time. We had our own little room, so there was no one around us. We've all been tested, and so I went to get the antibodies test. That's what I was telling you guys about. Shit, man. Whew. Derailed. So I figured you go to Quest Diagnostics lab or whatever, and I figured that you order the home kit and you can just like plop in whatever kind of bodily fluid or whatever you need into a test tube and ship it back, and then they can give you the results. It's like, nope, you still got to go in. So I went to a local one, and there's like no one there it's just very ominous and weird. But like you go in, there's no one there to greet you except like an iPad, and you plug in your information, and then they come out and they call you back. And it's not a very, I don't want to say discourteous. It's not a courteous exchange. I don't want to say that, but it's just very matter of fact. Like, take off your jacket, roll up your sleeve. Have you paid yet? I was like, I think I did. And she was like, cool. Like, stick the needle in the arm. And she's like, hold that, boom, done. And she's like, all right, good to go. I'm just like, whoa, this is, we're not fucking around here. Are you busy? Because there's no one in the waiting room. So I got the results in probably 2 or 3 days. And then you get the results, and mine was negative. And so that's good, I think, but also bad. I think you want the antibodies test to be positive. From what maybe I should look up the results again just so I can relay it to you guys, because it didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's not, to me, I got the antibodies test as kind of as a way to get some peace of mind, right? And I didn't get a peace of mind. I got further confused about what the hell is going on. All right, so here we go. Antibody test result was negative. Details below. Your test was negative. This means the antibodies were not detected in your blood sample at the time it was collected. So that could mean one of 8 bajillion things. Number 1, you have not been infected with COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. Is that COVID-19? Or number 2, you have been infected with the virus, but your antibodies have not reached a sufficient level for the test to be able to detect them. Sweet. Or you have been infected with the virus, but there has not been enough time for antibodies to develop. It can take 1 to 3 weeks to develop after someone is infected, sometimes longer. Not having antibodies may suggest that you are still susceptible to COVID. The possibility of a false negative test, which I didn't even think was a freaking thing, is low, but should be considered if you were recently diagnosed with COVID, exposed to someone with COVID, previously developed symptoms suggestive of COVID, have a compromised immune system. So I feel like I wasted $120. essentially, because it's like who has peace of mind after reading all that shit? It's like a friggin' the disclaimer they have on those on pharmaceutical commercials. May cause spontaneous combustion. Like, I don't know. So cool, I guess. I should have, I guess if you have the positive antibodies test, then it's like you're good to go. You just go out there raw dogging everyone. But when you have the negative test, maybe keep it under wraps. And with that said, I went to a small dinner with friends, but they were all, they had all been tested and they were all negative. So we got together. It was a small group. I'd say there were 6 of us, myself included, and went to the Boca, went to a place called Anthony David's, which I highly recommend. I don't even know what the final tally is. I still have to look that up and pay my friend who just decided on the slide to get the bill, but without us noticing. It was still a little conspicuous. It was like he got a call and was just like, yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Is everything all right? He's like, yeah. So, yeah, I need to hit him back on that, but I highly recommend Anthony David's. Very good eats, very good atmosphere. We had our own little restroom. Our server was just delightful. Just pumping it. She knew that, like, okay, big time birthday celebration. Get these people as liquored up as possible and have them just keep ordering drinks and food and whatnot. And kudos to her. She knew what she was doing. I had as an appetizer, I had the grilled octopus with cannellini beans. That's one of those beans. That's one of those words where you could show it to me 100 times and 100 times I won't know how to pronounce it. Cannellini beans. And it looks like it's an easy word to pronounce. Cannellini, but I'm definitely not saying it right. And this is the second time now I've had grilled octopus. The first time was with the same friends in Hoboken at a different restaurant. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to like grilled octopus. I'm not like a huge seafood guy. Tentacles freak me out. It took me forever to get on board with like calamari, which is like we fucking 6-year-olds are eating that shit. Well, it also could be pig anus. I read that somewhere. So consider that next time you have it. But, and we got to, we were loosey goosey. So I don't even think I dropped this on anyone, but it was like someone asked me, I didn't even think I said it, but it's oh, hey, Neil, didn't know you like to eat puss. It's like, I didn't think I would like eating puss either, but I love puss. I love eating puss. So that you can take that, run with that, do with it what you will. I just thought that was a nice little enjoyment for adults. Ordered the steak. I think it was like grass-fed steak, which like you never see that with anything else. That like you never see like corn-fed steak or like, Airheads fed steak or it's always grass fed. It's like, well, what the fuck else are they going to eat? What flour fed steak? So, but it was amazing. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had. And the potatoes on the side were not your normal potatoes. And I want to say that they almost reminded me of like hush puppies in a way, but they weren't hush puppies. It was just like really sophisticated tater tots, but not in tot form, kind of just like they look like amoebas. I don't know. I'm not describing this well, but it was delicious. And so not like your mashed potatoes, more like fried potatoes. And then they brought all the desserts and, people were having pasta and this is where, I wonder like, oh, well, I'm eating the same amount. Like I didn't order more than anyone else at this table. I'm and drinking wise, I'm keeping up with everyone else. But it's slippery slope. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a slippery slope because it's not that you like are eating so much more than other people that everyone notices and they're like, Jesus, Neal, calm down. It's like, no, it's that you had like 2 or 3 extra drinks and you had 2 or 3 extra bites of the dessert and you actually finished all of your food on your plate. It's just the little things that add up. And so that's what's like killing me. It's just all the small things. True care, truth brings. It left me rolling my. So yeah, we were there. Was it 7:30 to probably around 10:30? Good, solid 3-hour dinner. Lots of wine. I had something called like a Miss You Summer or Summer Solemn for Summer cocktail. Because it was just like, lemon and vodka and, it's just good. I don't know. You can't go wrong with that. My buddy, I think I said this last episode, my buddy sent me some Horse Soldier whiskey, bourbon whiskey. And, man, I mean, I haven't been a whiskey guy in a long time. I mean, I have told this a bunch of times, but like I had a whiskey face. Oh yeah. When I was 23, 24, 22 to 24, hardcore whiskey phase. But it was like Jim Beam. I don't even think it was Jack Daniels. It was probably just Jim Beam. But then it was Old Granddad whiskey. Old Granddad. It's like $6. Whew. Yeah, but that got me in a lot of trouble. That was a bad period of my life, and I blame whiskey 1,000%. But this whiskey, it doesn't get you all riled up. It's nice and aged, something like 13, 14 years. So Google it. Horse Soldier. So good. So after the dinner, we go back to the friend's apartment. In this apartment, they just moved. So they had a old apartment in the kind of like the shipyard area. Gorgeous apartment. I mean, it was right on the corner, had a corner window. So you're looking out basically at all of Hoboken. You can look down all of Washington Street. You can look down 14th Street. It was like prime territory. You can overlook that one bar, wherever the hell it is. Jesus, where I had my first date with my wife, and I can't remember. City Bistro. And they have the roof open in the summer and springtime, so you can look down and judge people, look down on people and say, no, don't talk to that guy. You can hook up with her. Okay. Bad decisions. I love it. So it was a great apartment. I loved it. They were there for a few years, but they just moved into a new apartment in, what is it called? I mean, I think it's like right next to where Eli Manning used to live. So it's nothing to sneeze at. And the apartment that they're in was 2 apartments. And then they just like the building just decided, screw it. And we're just going to knock down a wall and make it one giant freaking apartment. And it is monstrous. And just the 2 of them and a dog, but plenty of room for like guests. And no one slept over. It almost felt bad, but if I sleep over, then it's like, well, we got to get brunch, and now we got a boozy brunch, bottomless brunch, and then I'm shirking duties, So we ended up watching. My buddy's mom has a series, like public access series called Ask the Manager, but she's from Worcester or Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, that area. So she has an accent. So it's really Ask the Manager. And, I have a family. I used to live in the New England area. I have family in the New England area, and they talk like that, and I love it. These are the same friends that when we went hiking, back in October-ish, and I ordered the Tom Collins and the Cape Cod. So you can tell when I get around this crew, I just love breaking that out. But we watched her YouTube videos because they put the episodes on YouTube, and she's just amazing. She goes in hard on these dudes. I mean, and these guys, and they were out on a boat. This is over the summer, and these 2 guys, 2 probably thoroughly corrupt not businessmen. Well, probably businessmen and politicians, on the local board, city officials, that kind of shit. and probably just taking all kinds of like money under the table and bribes and all this stuff. And they're on this boat and they're both wearing sunglasses. And the one guy's in a suit. The other guy's like in his casual wear. And they're all laid back and relaxed, thinking, we're going to go out on the boat and we're going to answer some softball questions from this, woman who is a senior citizen or approaching senior citizenship. And it's going to be a fucking walk in the park. Piece of cake. And no, she just was hard. I heard that you approved this thing that's going to affect this neighborhood. What do you have to say about that? And it's like, ask the manager. I don't know how she hasn't blown up yet. Hopefully this will help her go viral because she takes it seriously. And you could tell about halfway through, or maybe even like the first 2 minutes, that these guys realized they were in a heap of trouble with her. So, we listened to all kinds of cool jams, watched some YouTube videos, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial or spoof commercial on Saturday Night Live with Casey Affleck. Such a good one. You need to YouTube that. Very nice. So lots of laughs, lots of fun. I didn't get home. And, time flies, my man, when fun is bound. And I didn't get home till 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I'm a father and a husband. And that's just, I don't know, when I'm 40, I don't know if that's acceptable, but I did it. And of course I had the key on me and I could not unlock the front door had to be 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Just inserting was tough. Okay. We all know that when you're drunk trying to insert. And then I couldn't remember which way unlocks. Like, do I go left to unlock, lefty loosey? Do I go right to unlock? Because maybe it's one of those funky locks where it's the opposite day type thing. So I was turning left, pushing, turning right, pushing, turning left, pushing. And I didn't want to do it, because the baby's asleep. And my wife is obviously asleep. She had a friend over to keep her company, and the friend's asleep. And it's like, do I really want to call and wake him up just because I'm blotto, extra hard blotto? That ain't right. But I did. I called twice and left a voicemail twice. And I wish I had her phone with me now to play her the voicemail, but it was not good. And it just so happened I told a story. My friend had told a story about me being drunk at the dinner like 13 years prior, where I couldn't get in to their apartment when I was staying with them, and pressing the buzzer repeatedly and leaving voicemails. And of course, I don't know, it must have leaked into my subconscious, and I ended up doing it again. And so I finally got in, figured it out somehow. I don't know what the magic sequence of actions was, but it worked. And then plopped down on the couch, slept in my clothes, no big deal. And my daughter woke me up at 9 a.m. So I probably got less than 5 hours of sleep. And we all know when you're drunk, if you think it's great sleep because you're so drunk, you're not getting great sleep. So I was still drunk when she woke me up at 9 a.m. It was just, it was actually not that bad. I'll be honest. I'd rather be still drunk and doing some fathering than hungover fathering. Hungover fathering, you're angry. Still drunk fathering, it's like still got a nice little buzz going. You're not sloppy. You're willing to be a little more interactive and, whatever. So am I endorsing it wholeheartedly? No. But I'm saying in comparison to hungover fathering, hungover dadding, I'm going to go with still drunk dadding. Sorry. Oh, I don't know. Does that mean does she get taken away now? Is that like, this is not an everyday thing. This is just a once in a blue moon. Oh boy. So yeah, that was a fun little night. Took it pretty easy the rest of the weekend. The rest of the weekend was mostly just like just red wine, sipping red wine, because I feel like, beers, you probably get a little bloated. You already get the heartburn thing going on. So maybe just sipping the red wine and easing into your hangover and your Sunday scaries. I had a call FaceTime with my mom, and this is how I'll preface this quick little story with this. I've read all kinds of articles from Vice to whatever. Any and all publications are doing this where, and it's usually around Thanksgiving or the holidays because that's when you meet up with family. And, ever since Trump has been president or elected president, it seems like politics is the number one thing that gets talked about at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, I try to avoid it as much as possible because it never ends well. And it's never a productive conversation that's constructive or that leads to anything good. It's just always divisive. But I did happen to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's video. I think it's like 7 minutes long. I think it's on Twitter, Instagram. I forget which weekend he released it. I think it was after the insurrection, which was, that was, the last episode that I recorded was the 5th, which was the Tuesday night before the insurrection. Wasn't it? Maybe. So it's like, it's not funny. It's, it's a blemish on American history and, it just sucked. So Schwarzenegger came out with a video just giving his thoughts on everything. And, I don't know. Say what you will about Schwarzenegger. And I know there's a lot been said. And I didn't really follow his track record in terms of what he voted for, what he was against when he was governor of California. And I know he's an actor. And so he could be lying his balls off when he's talking. But when he talks, it's like I listen. It's almost like The Rock. When The Rock talks, I listen. When some of these other politicians talk, it's just like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. You're just like, you're blowing hot smoke up our ass. And it's like The Rock and Arnold are probably doing the same thing, but for whatever reason, they click with me. So when he talked about how, this is a time, that people are in fear. He basically went into some backstory about, where he grew up and what he had to deal with growing up where, in Austria, when his parents and parents' friends in that generation were trying to drink themselves silly because of what they participated in, with in terms of World War II. And so there was a lot of, he learned a lot from those experiences because of their complicitness in what was going on. And so he, obviously wants us to be able to process, our feelings a little bit better. And, but the key takeaway I mentioned to my mom, and my mother finds every possible which way to insert politics. It could be a conversation about a blanket, about toys, about, just simple things that are so like Kevin Bacon tangentially related to what I'm talking about. And she'll find a way to like insert politics into it. And I rarely try and comment about it, but the insurrection I think came up and I was like, yeah, I didn't come up actually. I actually brought up something on my own. We were talking about how like she's worried about the kids, the kids not having school or having this virtual classroom and how bad it is for them and how she feels bad for the kids because they're losing education and they're not getting the correct kind of education and so on and so forth. And which I completely understand. But what I was saying was, I think this whole experience will make these kids smarter and stronger in the long run. So in the short run, no, they're not, might not be getting the same experience. They're not getting the full experience, and it's not the same as it was before. But, and this is how I brought in the Schwarzenegger video, was he, and people are going to scoff at this, and it's fine. But for whatever reason, I like the guy. I liked his movies. And so when he brought out Conan's sword, and he's like, democracy is like a lot like the forging of this Conan sword, because in order to make the steel of the blade stronger, it needs to go under hot flames, and then shoved in cold water, and then hammered and fire and water and hammer, fire, hammer. He explained the process of forging like a sword of that caliber. And he's like, in a lot of ways, I feel like that the steel and how it's forged and how it becomes stronger after all this heat and this hitting and, temperature changes and all that, it becomes stronger. It's like democracy. So when something like the insurrection happens, and you feel like we're at our weakest, and this is the worst, and democracy's going to shit, and all this and all that, that this is actually the tempering of democracy. So we are going to come out on the other side of this being stronger. We're going to be a stronger democracy because we experienced this. And I thought, I don't know. I just thought that was a good message. I thought it was a nice message. I'm trying to get more positive, constructive messages that are unifying, as opposed to, well, Arnold he was a Republican. Maybe he's not a Republican now, or he's talked ill of the Republican Party. And so if, like, my mom is a staunch Republican, well, I think she's more of a libertarian, but same thing. It's like, name a Democrat that you don't mind, or that has said something that you actually liked. And just because they're a Democrat doesn't mean you have to automatically disagree with them. But anyway, I told her about the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing, and she was just like, and she just made a face, like shaking her head, like, and I was like, you know what? I tried. And the Bears Saints game is coming on Nickelodeon, so I gotta go. And she was just like, oh yeah, you sound just like the liberals I have to deal with, like this person that she thinks is a liberal. And it just cut me. It cut me, because it was like, you read all these stories about how like politics is like driving families apart and separating families, and causing parents to disown their children, or children to reverse disown their parents, whatever you want to call it, and refuse to speak to them anymore because of stupid motherfucking politics. And, this wasn't even like a political thing, like pro-abortion or blah, blah. It was just like, yeah, we took a hit. Democracy took a hit. It doesn't mean it's crumbling. It doesn't mean it's like whatever. And it was just kind of it was a motivational speech of sorts for me to kind of get back on board and say, you know what, like, let's continue to drive for, work towards the same goals, work to be a better country, work to be a better, I don't know. But she made a face, and I just could tell that she was not on board. Maybe because it was Arnold saying it, maybe because it was a little silly. The fact that he's comparing democracy to a fictitious barbarian sword weapon. But it just, the way he explained it, the way he prefaced it with his own experiences, life experiences growing up. And sure, yeah, he's an actor. And he probably like had a writer come up with that. And it's like, I'm not foolish. I understand all the theatrics of it all. I just thought it was a good message. I just thought it was like, let's not let fear over. And I'm one of the most scared pussies in the world. So it's like, for me to kind of stand here and say, we're going to get stronger from it. And so I was just saying, like, even though the kids are having this bad experience where they're not getting the kind of education that maybe they're used to, or we're used to as a society, and they're going to be held back, or they're not going to progress as fastly or quickly as they would before. I also think that it will strengthen them. So even though academically maybe they're hindered, their progress is slowed, it's okay. I think it's okay, because in the long run, I think they've experienced hardship during this time, challenges, things that, to be honest, are more important. I'm not to say that math and science and history and all that shit is not important, and that, but to be able to retain all that information when you grow up, like you find an interest, you find a passion, or you have a natural talent and you gravitate towards it, and then you further yourself, right? So if the kid's not like picking up on certain things, to have this life experience, and I get it, like, we're fortunate enough that daycare is open and that they're taking all the precautions. The kids are wearing masks, and like, we're fortunate in that way. And I've heard multiple parents say, like, for the older kids that are not able to go into school, and that they're just like not doing their homework, not doing virtual learning, not doing this, not doing that. And I would feel, if we didn't live in the age of the internet, and yes, there's a shit ton of misinformation, disinformation, whatever, available online, but there's also like a lot of knowledge online that's true and factual, and that, I think eventually, once we get back to some kind of structure, for the kids, it's a year or two, it sucks, but I really do think that we'll be stronger because of it. I don't know. I just thought it was a good message. And she was just like, nope. And then she called me a liberal. And I was just like, and I know that's not, it's so weird how like someone calls you a liberal, and it's almost like they called you like a cunt, or, douchebag, or, asshole, or any kind of slur, or, whatever you can think of, put down. And when I was like, I'm your son. Like, I'm your son. Don't let politics do this to you. Don't let it do it to you. So anyway, that's my sob story. MLK weekend, that was fun. My wife went to a friend's place in Philly for most of Saturday into late Sunday, so it was just me and the baby. And one of the things that I'm happy I'm experiencing with my daughter, is she's potty training hard, and she's like crushing it. I don't know if it's supposed to be, and I'm not like trying to brag or anything like that, but I always thought of potty training as like, it's almost like Navy SEAL training. Like, it has the word training in it. So it's got to be fucking intense. There's got to be obstacle courses, and, I got to push her to the limit. Walk along the race. I got to have a whistle and a blackboard, and, there's a montage, and, it's, I guess it's not like that. It's not, but I didn't, I was too young to remember when I was potty trained. I was too young. I don't even remember my sister being potty trained. And I vaguely remember my niece being around when she was going through that. So, it was just like, but she's doing a great job, is essentially the takeaway that I'm trying to get at, is, I just let her, from the moment she wakes up to right before she goes to bed, she's like not wearing a diaper. And she's pretty good about like letting me know, she's got to go potty when she has to pee. But the problem is that pooping is another story altogether. Peeing has never been a problem. Like, she gets it. I gotta go, gotta pee. I'm happy about it. We're all happy about it. The pooping is just, I don't know what happened to her, or if she had like a shit brick type experience, like the dude from American Pie or what have you. But she gets very, like, even when she's wearing a diaper, She'll go like behind the couch or in the corner behind the lamp or behind the TV stand or like anywhere she can hide when she's pooping into a diaper. Like how did that happen? And she'll deny it up and down to your face. Like I can smell it from 3 blocks down and I'll be like, did you poop? And she'll be like, nope. No, did not poop. On my life, on my mother, did not poop. And she definitely pooped. You can smell it. And you can you keep questioning her and like eyeballing her and making faces. And so eventually she cracks and laughs, but she will still deny it. She'll never admit it. Now, pooping without the diaper has been a challenge because she gets it is a different feeling in your body, right? Like when you have to pee versus when you have to poop. And there's been, I guess, like twice now. Once was, me and the wife were having an exchange of words. And, she's in the background like, hey, I get a potty to poop. And we just can't hear her because it's like we're arguing over something stupid. And next thing you know, she's not making noises. We've quieted down and we're like go into the bathroom and there's just a dookie on the floor, on the tile. And it's near the toilet. So it lets you know, like she understands that the poop has to go in the potty, but it's a matter of there's like some kind of disconnect there. We can't figure out what is preventing her because like there are times where she has to pee in the potty. Maybe we're not paying attention, but she'll go step up onto the potty and pee. But the poop is like a whole different story. She like has this I don't know if it's a fear or a mental block or what, but there's that last 2 or 3 steps and hoisting onto the toilet is like not happening for the poop. So, and there was another time where it was just like, I don't know, we were busy running around, and she wasn't enunciating or something like that, and walked in the bathroom and literally the poop was, you ever watched the episode of South Park where Randy Marsh was like housing PF Chang's? He was like all about PF Chang's. Anybody like hadn't pooped in a long time or something like that. He was constipated. And then all of a sudden, it was I can't even explain like everything all the storylines and plots in this episode. But there's that famous gif of him where he finally poops and he poops so much and so hard and so much that he actually like spins and he eventually stops and he's like sitting on like this peak of poop. I think Bono was involved. I don't know why. I can't remember. It was so long ago. That's what it would look like in our bathroom on the floor. And again, it's like, you're so close to the toilet. Just go in the toilet. But, luckily, so she just gets scared. So this past weekend, she went twice in the potty. So I felt like I felt like I was the best father in the world. Like, yeah. I don't know how I did it or why I did it. Maybe I was like, don't be scared. Like everybody poops. Shout out to that book. I was like, mommy poops, daddy poops, Gigi poops, grandma poops, just trying to like be like, yo, dude, don't worry about it. Everyone does it. And she did it twice. And they're both like, I don't know what the hell we're feeding this kid, but they're both pretty like solid logs. Anyway. I decided that I would order out, treat myself, because trying to cook with her and no help, no assistance from anyone is tough. It's just like, cause she wants to get involved and like, you're the only other person there. So she's obviously 100% of the focus on you. And so cooking is like, that can be tough. So I was like, I'm going to take the effort out of this, take the sweat out of this in order. And this was one of those things where it was a little on the early side and I wasn't starving. So I was like, I'll browse a little bit. And then that's not good because then I browse for like a solid hour or two. looking at every possible option and wondering, okay, this place, great pizzeria. It's an artisan pizzeria though. And I'm not sure I'm going to get the bang for my buck. So it's like, yes, this looks like an amazing pizza. The ingredients that you have listed out there on your menu make me salivate and drool. But the price, oddly enough, looks affordable. Does that mean I'm going to get like a 2-inch pie? Like I'm just going to get like a little lunchable pizza pie. So I had to balance that. And of course I made the wrong decision yet again. I literally had 2, maybe 3 carts ready to go. I abandoned. Like if this wasn't on the internet, this would be I would make the news. I would have to make the nightly news. Like local man went into like 4 or 5 restaurants, placed his orders, and then walked out. Police are on the lookout. But online, it's just like, it came so close to ordering from another place. But it was like, it was one of those online ordering things where it's not through like an Uber Eats or a Grubhub or like, and this is what I understand. It's 2021, newsflash. And these restaurants still have not figured out how to, or maybe it's on purpose, but accurately depict what the hell their menu items are. There are some very easy to understand and grasp. Cheeseburger. We all know what a cheeseburger is. But special pie? Is the special pie the same across every single pizzeria, or am I losing it? I'm starting to think it's the same thing across all pizzerias. But pizzerias, I think, are the biggest offenders. And it bothers me to no end. Case in point. Okay, so the daycare that my daughter goes to sent out an email Friday. They're like, be thankful. We just got free catered lunch from this pizzeria down the street. We encourage you to order from them to reciprocate business or whatever, show our gratitude. And I was like, eventually I abandoned 4 or 5 other carts and I was like, all right, screw it. They're close by. I should support them. But, the last time I've ordered from them, probably the last 2 times I've ordered from them have been atrocious. I think I talked about it on one of my episodes where it was like the salad pie. Why is that on the menu, dude? It's literally a pizza pie crust, no tomato sauce, no cheese, and it's just like lettuce, tomatoes, olives, onions. What the actual fuck? And then this go around, I was like struggling. I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. I want something that I want white pizza, but they don't really have white pizza. And it's like, the other place. So the other place I was trying to order from online didn't go through Grubhub or Uber Eats. They go through some whack ass online ordering system where you click on it, added it, and then you have to add the toppings, and each topping is like $3. And so then I just wasn't even paying attention to that. So I'm just adding toppings. I'm like, this is going to be the bomb ass pizza. I go to check out and it's like $50,000 because I added like 10 toppings. And so I try to I want to edit. I just want to go back and edit. And I ended up having to close out. Anyway, figure it out, dude. Online ordering has got to be so huge. You've had so long to figure it out. It's been almost a year since this fucking pandemic hit. Figure out online ordering. So there's a pizza that I ordered from this pizzeria that I don't know what it is about this pizzeria, but I always order the stupidest, most wrong thing, thinking it's going to be something else and it's going to be something eye-opening and a revelation. And it's not. This one, the stuffed deli pizza. Okay, right off the bat. I don't know what it is about the word stuffed, but I love it. I love stuffing, and I like to stuff. So, and I've had a stuffed pizza before. There was a pizza place in Hoboken that we used to order from. I mean, always right after the bars closed. we always ordered the stuffed pizza from this place. And it's like, it's super expensive because it's essentially two pizzas smushed together. You have the bottom pizza pie and then you have the top pizza pie, boom, smushed together. And in your head, you're thinking, oh, I'm getting like twice the pizza for like almost the cost of one. But you're really just getting twice like the bread and crust. You're not getting like twice. It doesn't feel like you're getting twice the toppings. Anyway, I was like, maybe it'll be like that. And maybe I'll just pig out. And who cares anymore? And so I ordered it. But before ordering it, I was like, I just would like to know what's in it. Like stuffed deli pizza. I don't know. What does that mean? And you look at, so that's the name of the menu item. And you look underneath it for the description. The description is as follows. Stuffed. Period. That's it. Stuffed. One word description. Stuffed. It's in the name of the menu item. Dude, I know it's stuffed. I know. What is it stuffed with? Deli. Okay, great. So I was like, fuck it, roll the dice, and maybe it'll be an epiphany. Maybe I'll be like a little gem. Maybe people don't order this and they should be ordering this. And then I can go on my show and be like, yo, hey y'all, stuffed deli pizza is where it's at. And I'm here to tell you it is not. It is heartburn city. It is essentially, I don't even know. I'm trying to figure out what is in it. I had one slice the night of ordering it, and we just had the last slice today. So it's like that one of those pies lasted 4 days. And you know me, I'm usually a 3-4 slice guy per outing, per sesh, per sit down. But I just, no. It had ham, I think pepperoni, tomatoes, American cheese, or some kind of cheese whiz, maybe a little ricotta. I don't know. Those are the prime elements. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck is this a deli? Like what? Like it's kind of an Italian sub, but it's kind of not. And then one of my friends, my wife's friend, was like, oh, it's like a stromboli. I was like, but it's more like a panini, but like a breakfast. I don't know. So yeah, maybe just let's steer clear for the stuffed pizzas for a little bit until I forget. But I also ordered rice balls, stuffed mushrooms, and buffalo wings. I ate. My wife picked up party wings at the grocery store, like just a bag of, I guess, frozen party wings or whatever. And we put them in the slow cooker. Cause why not? With like I don't even know what kind of sauce we used. Oh, it was like a butter chicken sauce, which I thought was kind of an interesting little twist. And I ate, I must have plowed through 30 of those things in one sitting. The stuffed mushrooms are good. Rice balls are intriguing, and I want to like them more, but at the same time, it's just like, there's nothing good for me eating these rice balls. It's just pure self-hatred. So it was good to have Monday off though, because Sunday was, that was tough, but Monday was great. So let's talk a little bit about TV real quick, hot and dirty. We watched The History of Swear Words, season 1. And the first episode was fuck. And it was hosted by Nick Cage. And I feel like if it weren't hosted by Nicolas Cage, I would not have watched it. So kudos to Netflix for realizing that. He's just the host. He doesn't really, he comes in, every once in a while to explain the history or to like to introduce the segment, the history and applications and all that stuff. That was good. But when he's not on screen talking, it's mostly like comedians making jokes in that kind of best week ever style, where it's rapid fire and they're talking about. I think it was like Jim Jeffries, Nikki Glazer. I can't remember some of the other ones, but not bad. And I think it was it might have been half an hour or an hour, but they let off strong. I don't know if I think that was the one I was most curious about. I don't know that I want to watch the other ones, but who knows? I mean, Nick Cage, how can you go wrong? I just saw another trailer with him where it's called Willy's Wonderland, I think. And it looks amazing. I know last week or last episode, we did the most anticipated movies of 2021, which I mean is already outdated, and because, we'll get to it in a little bit, but this trailer, Willy's Wonderland, Nick Cage goes to an amusement park and is like, hey, I need to stay here for the night or something like that. And he's like, but I don't have any money, I think. And then the owner of the amusement park is like, well, or maybe he's looking for a job at the amusement park. And the guy's like, and the owner's like, yeah, you can be the janitor or the custodian or whatever. Or the security guard overnight. And you have to keep an eye on the overnight shift, midnight shift, whatever, graveyard shift. And it turns out like the amusement park is like possessed or haunted, and all them animatronics come to life and try to kill Nicolas Cage. And so it's him and I guess a bunch of kids that had snuck in, teens or whatever, that snuck in late at night to do whatever, make out and smoke the pot. And so Nick Cage basically just battles evil animatronics. Yes, dude, on a 1,000,000% yes, on board. So add that to the list of the most anticipated movies. Willy's Wonderland, I think it's called. Anyway, we enjoyed it, but I also checked out Schultz Saves America. He did a special on the coronavirus, and I think this is mostly just an extension of or broadening of what he's been doing on like Instagram and on social media, where it's him just talking direct to camera, and he's got the graphics popping up over his shoulder, kind of like, most of the Weekend Update on SNL, something like that. A lot of puns. I didn't realize Schultz did that many puns, and I appreciate a good pun. I like puns, and I had a lot of puns in my act when I did stand-up comedy, and it was not appreciated. So I did enjoy that, but it's tough. And I say this knowing full well that I'm doing the same thing, but listening to Schultz just like talk direct to camera, kind of intensely nonstop with just no kind of, at least Weekend Update, you have like, there's a break, there's laughter, Shay to Joe's to Shay, there's a guest interview, blah, blah. Like even when when SNL Weekend Update had like just Kevin Nealon or just Dennis Miller or just Norm Macdonald, there's still, kind of changing angles and guests and interviews and blah, blah, blah. This is just Schultz just like, boom, going at it hard. And I don't know. I think you hit a wall after a while of just like, whoa, it's a lot to take in and try to, enjoy. But good for him. I know that he's been, I met him when I was working at Daily Motion. I was trying to recruit him to like make content for the platform. And of course, this is back when I had a beard. And of course I had like hardcore cold sore outbreak. Perfect timing. And back when I was not, I just wasn't on top of it, which is sad because I was like 34. It's like, dude, get on top of it, fucking realize what's going on and attack it. And nope. It's always like in a situation where, hey, you've gone away for a week to a place that doesn't have a pharmacy and you forgot to bring your prescription or something like that. It's like, oh my God. Luckily, the beard kind of masks it, I guess. But, you could just tell right off the bat when you meet someone and like the first time meeting them. It happened at Condé Nast too, where like I don't know, it just catches you off guard. You don't have a refill, or you need to go see a doctor. And it's like, it makes it so friggin' difficult. It's like, this is not like, it's fucking, no one's smuggling this. No one's getting high off this. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like OxyContin. It's fucking a pill that's supposed to prevent an outbreak. And yet it's treated like fucking heroin. Anyway, it happened at Comedy too, where it's like, I was trying to postpone it so hard. And this is back when you had to go in the office. So it's like, I'd love to just be like, hey, not feeling well, I'm going to stay home. But it's like, I have to stay home for 7 to 10 days. Like, nah, you're not going to do that. Not going to happen. So, you have to kind of you bite the bullet, which would probably cause your lip to bleed. And so, I had to like train this woman on how to use, the content management system or whatever. And of course, had the outbreak, and it's like, I meet her and she introduces me to her pod. And I'm just sitting there like, hi, I'm a dirt bag. And they're all just looking at me like, and it's Conde too. So everyone's like fucking hoity toity, like elitist anyway. And so, like, oh my God. Ooh. And, and then I find out after I went through the whole rigmarole, she's like, yeah, I guess I already knew all this. And I was like, great. Good. Grand. Wonderful. But same thing happened when I met Schultze at Daily Motion. It was just like, you could see as soon as he met me and saw it, he was just like, I can't do business with you. You don't even know how to handle your shit. Your fucking mouth looks angry. So, he hung out for like half an hour to an hour. We played a little ping pong, no big deal, but they had no interest. It's mostly, I working at Daily Motion was just like, hey, I'm going to give you all the information I know for free. You're going to take that and go to another platform and do it. That was my existence. So I don't know. I good for him. I know that he's been kind of a pioneer. I don't know about pioneer, trailblazer, but the fact that he's embraced social media so much and has put a lot of his work and comedy and stuff out there across social media has led to him getting opportunities that I don't think he would have gotten just working like comedy clubs. You know what I mean? I guess that's what I was getting at. Ugh. Let's talk about WandaVision. I watched the first 2 episodes this past week, and WTF? Exclamation point? Question mark? Exclamation point? I knew it was going to be different, from watching the promos, the trailers and all that. But I didn't think it was going to be like this. In my head, I thought, oh, well, they're going to do this throwback 50s sitcom thing for an episode, and it's going to be like the bottle episode. BoJack Horseman, I always bring this up, but BoJack Horseman had the underwater episode, and Breaking Bad had the contained episode, and the, blah, blah, blah. Like each series or season has that one episode that kind of defies the normal format and is just contained or whatever. No, this is like the fucking show. And I was like, oh no, like episodes 2 started. And I was like, because episode 1 ended and it gave you, it was like, went through the credits, and then it might've been post credits. Maybe it was right before the credits, right towards the end. It's like, there's a clue, and there was maybe 1 or 2 clues over the course of the episode that were like, okay, this is not what it's going to be, guys. It's going to be something else. Just hold on, be patient. But it kept my interest. But then episode 2, it's like almost the same thing, where it's dominated by this 50s sitcom, 60s sitcom, black and white shit. And you're like, please don't do this for 10 episodes. Like, please don't do this for 10 episodes. First of all, I've said this a million times, and I will keep saying it until the day I die. Fuck black and white. I'm sorry. I have no use for it. I don't understand. We're almost a quarter century into the new century. Black and white is no longer necessary. Stop it, dude. I can't imagine going back to the time when everything was black and white. You couldn't have color, and saying, hey, in the future we have color, but we still do black and white. And then being like, are you dumb? Like, what? So I know it has some kind of certain aesthetic and blah, 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 blah. Do not care. I will never, I say this as if it's going to mean something, but I will never, if I ever get the opportunity to make a film, a movie, a video, a TV series, there will never be black and white. Never. If anything, it'll be hyper colorized to the point where you're like, oh my fucking eyes. Ah. That's how I want it. Color, dude. Color is so great. It's amazing how many colors there are and how they attract your eye and make you feel a certain way. Black and white is the most blah of the blah, 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 blah. Like Nebraska, that movie with Will Forte and what's his name? Old dude. Why did that have to be in black and white, bro? Mank. I might have given Mank a chance if it wasn't in black and white. The Artist, that was 2011 and that won the fucking best picture. Why? I'm just, ugh. And what's sad is there, I wasn't alive during the 50s and 40s and 30s and 20s and 60s, but I would imagine that there were still, even though the colors were not like neon and whatnot, they're probably still rich and vibrant and beautiful. And nope, we gotta do this fucking black and white shit. And I get it. It was a plot device, and it did make a difference and was part of the whole shebang. I get it, but God damn it, dude. God damn it. So, WandaVision, I'm pretty close to being. I was like, I don't know if I want to stick around for this. I just don't know. People were making a big deal out of when, Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are awesome. Okay. There are no arguments there. But at the same time, I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, what is this? This better have the payoff of all payoffs. And you just got to kind of have trust and faith in these people and the people that are producing it, that, it is from Marvel, and Marvel knows what they're doing as opposed to DC and all the other, big franchises. So you just got to have faith. George Michael, shout out. But it's tough. It's testing my patience to the point where it's like you can't hand me, and I know they're only 30-minute episodes, but you can't show me 30-minute episodes where I think like 6 minutes of the 30 is credits with ominous music. And then the other 22 minutes, like 2 is hinting at something. That's why, episode 3 has got to come with something a little more, I'm hoping. And I know I ended up doing like a search on Twitter and just being like, I put in WandaVision, and the first, and it auto-filled to WandaVision boring. So you have I feel like there's 2 groups of people. There's one that are diehard and are just like blindly like, this is the best. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's like, maybe a tad just like blinded by love a little bit, like just so blindly fanboying over the fact that like, if this weren't Marvel, would you be feeling this way? Probably not. And then there's the other group that's like, I just want to watch a cool Marvel TV series with Vision and Red Scarlet, and it's Scarlet Witch. And it's like, what the fuck is this? There was no indication it would be like this the whole time from watching the movies that they were in. So, but yeah, they do an awesome job. But at the same time, it's like, what is this? So I'm sure episode 3 of the rest of the series is going to completely prove me wrong. And I'm going to look back and be like, genius. They set it up perfectly, but right now it's hard to see. It really is. It's really hard to see. So, I finished Queen's Gambit, and I don't know how they did it, but they got me feeling chess big time. I don't know that I'm gonna like pick out a board and start playing anytime soon, but I just I wasn't a fan of and my wife is Benny, the skinny dude. First of all, the other guy, so funny that I mentioned in my countdown of the best movies of 2020, the villain from the old guard is in Queen's Gambit. And I just put 2 and 2 together, like as I was watching it this past week and finishing up. And in this one, he's like, he just plays like this puppy dog eyed dork who's just like so concerned for Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Beth Harmon. And that's just like his whole existence is just like, I'm worried about you. I'm concerned about you. You're drinking. You did it. And it's just like, all right, yeah. Thanks for the concern. Get the hell out. So, I mean, you know, you can see from the flashbacks that she was raised by a mom who, though she was like, you can survive on your own. You can be alone. You need to feel comfortable being alone. You don't need a man to feel complete, blah, blah, blah. Then the flashbacks eventually go to, well, the mother is stopping by the father's new place with the new family and saying like, I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. So, but damn, I like the way that she just like fucking her adoptive mom dies of hepatitis, which that hit me hard. I mean, I still got like obliterated drunk that weekend, but just like, I was like, whoa. You can die that quickly of hepatitis? How'd you get hepatitis? And it's like, from drinking? You know, I don't know. My dumb brain always thought that like hepatitis was like, oh, well, you're sharing needles and, you know, that kind of shit. In addition to drinking, not like, oh, you just drink all the time. And it can just like in the matter of days take you out. Like, whoa. It should have been a wake up call. With anyone else, I think it would have been a wake up call. For me, it was like, oh, man, maybe I just have like 4 drinks instead of 5, you know? But that got me thinking a little bit. I was like, so then I started looking up like hepatitis. You started Googling hepatitis and all that. And it's like your liver. And then you go into the rabbit hole of like what your liver can and cannot do. And it's like your liver. I mean, I don't even want to look at my liver. Jesus Christ. It's like the scarring on your liver is permanent. And you're like, but it's also super resilient. So it's like, okay. What? Just tell me my liver's fine. So I guess it is. I don't know. We'll find out. Tune in at 11. So yeah, I love Queen's Gambit. It was masterfully shot. Love the cinematography. Anya Taylor-Joy was a joy. Amazing that, I mean, she's got to win some awards. The fact that she can play like a 13-year-old in one scene and it's believable. And then, you know, then they fast forward to 5-10 years later and she's like, you know, in her mid 20s and you could just tell her mannerisms or the way she handles her body. There's little things, idiosyncrasies line up and it doesn't like monopolize your mind, or at least my mind, like it normally does. Like, is this guy really 18? He looks like he's 34. So yeah, the mom was so great in it. I love the mom. She was cool. And then Benny, though, I don't know. I couldn't get on board with Benny. It's like, are you like, what are you? You're like Indiana Jones meets like DJ Qualls from Road Trip. You know, like, why do you have a duster? You play chess. But I will admit that they do have some pretty good chemistry. So that got the juices flowing, like watching those scenes between them. It definitely was like, all right, a little Sam and Diane type vibe where it's like, we know exactly where this is going, even though he shot you down, like it's going to happen. And even like when he had like the friends over, like the two guys came over with like the random French model who was going to kill herself, but like overheard these two arguing about chess and decided to live. And then I also thought there was going to be like, she would go, like, did she hook up with the French model? I don't know. But just a great story. And it's based, I'm sure people have done the research on this or really into the show know this, but it's based on a real person. Her name's not Beth Harmon. She's not American. And she's like Russian, and she does not look like Anya Taylor-Joy. But I'm glad to see, I think it should win a lot of awards, hopefully. I think Anya Taylor-Joy should be in everything, pretty much. And I think she will be. So Queen's Gambit, thumbs up for show. It's just interesting to see, like, this one guy, the nerd kid, the Martin Shkreli dude from Old Guard, he comes in and is like, I'm going to train you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to train you. I'm going to teach you. And then he does, and she gets better. And eventually he's just like, the people that you look up to, your idols in chess, like one of them went mad. This other one killed himself and blah, blah, blah. Like, I see that happening to you. And it's like, dude, like, scram, bro. What is your deal? Like, what is your deal? Are you just like, I don't know. The guy just like freaks me out. And then he like, makes a move on her. She's not expecting it. And then she's like, no, do it again. This time I'm ready. And then they sleep together. And then he's like, do you want me to leave or stay? And then she's just like, do what you want. And he's just too like, how are you commenting on her behavior when you're like a mess yourself? And then Benny, it's like, she sleeps with him. And he's just nonstop talking about chess. It's crazy. These Russians, though, it's interesting that Russia is like the country for chess. Super interesting that these kids are like at the age of 4, Borgov, the grandmaster or whatever the hell it's called. It was like, I remember when I won my first tournament at 4. It's like, I don't remember shit from 4. 4 I feel like I should have memories from when I was 4, and I do not. These people have memories of being 3 and 4. Super gel, dude. Super gel over here. Yeah. Queen's Gambit. Love it. I'm 5 episodes done or into Lovecraft Country. So I'm on episode 6, and it has got me in the palm of its hand. So good. The twist in episode 5, fuck y'all. Love it. It's just, I was trying to think about this. It's like Stranger Things meets Watchmen meets, I mean, you name it. It's just, it's almost like an anthology series in that each episode explores a different horror trope or fear. The first one was monsters, kind of. Second one was ghosts. Third one was like a zombie-ish, back from the dead type thing. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I love it. I love it so much. Combines everything that I've ever wanted. And I didn't realize that until, I guess maybe last night or the night before, that Letty is played by Journey Smollett, who was Black Canary in Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn story. She is awesome in Lovecraft Country. And it's like, I was looking back at her role as Black Canary in Birds of Prey, I was like, why didn't we get to see a little more of that? Like Letty performance in the Black Canary performance. I don't know. Journey Smollett, I think she's related to Jussie Smollett, the guy who like said he was beat up by two guys wearing MAGA hats and it was two Nigerians. No big deal. And whoa. Hey yo. Whew. Lost you there. I'm back. So yeah, Lovecraft Country. The dude in Lovecraft Country, I don't even remember his name, but I can't get over how muscular he is. He's just sculpted. And they find every which way to get him in the most form-fitting shirts and shit. And it's just like, what I appreciate about the show is that they don't shy away from sex. They don't shy away. I feel like with a lot of the more popular shows, and I don't know, maybe I have like horror movie and Marvel stuck in the brain where it's like, we're not going to show you any kissing or sex, or like there's, I've just been so like deprived of that in a lot of what I watch, that it's nice to see that they fucking go for it in this show. Like him and Letty, Tick and Letty. Whew, some hot stuff. I don't know if it's like the bra she's wearing or what, but she's got some pointy boobs and I appreciate it. But yeah, oh boy. Yeah, I love the love scenes. The sex scenes are great. The twist in episode 5, so good. And it's like, how did I not see that coming? I feel like, and I felt like the question was buried in my mind somewhere, for sure. Like it was definitely, I just never said it out loud, but there was a part of me that was like, all right, well, obviously from the moment, William is introduced, you're like, all right, this guy's something a little off about this dude. What's up? And so, yeah, anytime he's on screen after that, you're just like, okay, yeah, but like, what's your deal, dude? What's your deal? What's your deal? What's your deal? And then there's that one sentence that really you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, that was just like a flashing beacon of light. Like, obviously, like the way that at the time the line of dialogue was said on the couch, it was like, this seems kind of like, you almost think, oh, is this like pandering or is this like social justice bullshit? Like, what are they trying to like shoehorn a message into it? Like what? Like that seems so, I don't know. But then what happened? The twist happens and you're like, got it. It's all coming back to me now. It all makes sense. Thanks for that. So good. And then what's his name? Is it Omar from The Wire? I don't know. We just stopped on The Wire, like season 2, maybe. I don't know if we got to season 3. We didn't even get to the best of like Omar. But dude, he has one scene, and I don't want to spoil it, but he has a sex scene where he hawks. I don't know if it's a hawk and a loogie, but he needed lubrication. And he provided that lubrication with his mouth. And it was like, so I'm sure a lot of people were like very turned off by it, like, ew, but it was like, I was like, whoa, all right. That's kind of, if you like just seeing how much saliva came out of his mouth, All right, this is gross. I'm grossing myself out, which is rare. So yeah, it's TV. I was gonna try and talk movies. You know, I mentioned it in the TV section, but basically, like, I put out. You know, I saw Variety had an article about their most anticipated movies of 2021. I was like, I'll react to this and I'll pick the ones that I'm most excited about. And then, you know, put out the episode. And then like next day after, Netflix is like, check it out. We're going to release one big, huge movie per week over the course of 2021. I was like, what? So there's like all these movies that Netflix is releasing that honestly, really, I don't know anything about, and I haven't read anywhere. Just came out of nowhere. But I don't want to go through like all of them. So I'll just try and like highlight the ones that were, I guess, highlighted by the article. Red Notice with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. Mega budgeted heist film. Okay. The Western, The Harder They Fall with Regina King, Idris Elba, and Lovecraft Country, Jonathan Majors. Ah, there you go. Jonathan Majors plays Tick, I believe. Amy Adams, The Woman in the Window. I've kind of heard a little bit about that. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Okay. Lin-Manuel Miranda's Tick, Tick, Boom. And then Don't Look Up, starring Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ariana Grande, Timothée Chalamet, Kid Cudi, and Meryl Streep. Out of all of them, sounds like the coolest and the best. And then I don't know much beyond that. They just provided titles and the genre that they are. So I'm just going to go based off of which ones sound the coolest. In the horror category, No One Gets Out Alive. That sounds like a winner. In the thriller category, Night Teeth. That sounds really cool. And Blood Red Sky and Escape from Spiderhead. Those sound cool. They're cool thrillers. There's only one movie in the sci-fi category. Stowaway. What the hell? In the romance category, Kissing Booth 3, Princess Switch 3, To All the Boys 3. Love Hard, which could be cool. Is that like Die Hard, a romantic rom-com version of Die Hard, or Walk Hard? Untitled Alicia Keys rom-com. Sure, why not? In the drama category, I don't know. All these sound so pompous. Concrete Cowboy, that sounds kind of cool. White Tiger, no. Comedy, Bad Trip. That sounds like it's gonna be, continuation of Road Trip and all that other bullshit. Don't Look Up. Oh, it's a comedy. Interesting. Double Dad. I don't know. For the Whole Family. Robin, Skater Girl, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I feel like maybe we should give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a rest. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. Yes Day. That sounds like it could be cool. I did get to see Tenet finally. And I'll have a review for that hopefully in the next week or two. I will just say this. We were thoroughly confused. The entire movie. I'm still confused to this day. I had my attention the whole time through, but it definitely gave me a headache. So I'll have more about movies next week. Let's talk NFL football, the New York Football Giants. It was wild card weekend, and we got to see the divisional round, and now with the conference championship slate is all set. I've been wrong pretty much on every single bet. Wild card weekend and divisional round. Colts at Bills. The Bills just squeezed by And I know that a lot of people are on the bandwagon right now, I guess myself included. But I thought that they were gonna really take it to the Colts, and they just, they had to go all 60 minutes to get the victory there. Rams at Seahawks. I don't know what I figured Goff is hurt, got a banged up hand. They got this other John Wolford starring. No one knows who the hell this guy is. That Seattle's going to feast. They're going to eat him up. And no dice. They lost 30-20. I had the under in Seattle with the points. I had the Bills over in the points. Lost those both. And then Bucks at Washington. Taylor Heineke, whatever, is I guess a Hall of Famer, which is great. Dude was like an XFL backup quarterback, and now he's just like, I don't know, is he like a force to be reckoned with, I guess? And watching that game, it made me think, like, obviously, I think if Alex Smith starts that game, the Washington's in a much worse position. I feel like watching Alex Smith in that final game against Philly, he just could not move at all. And with Taylor Heineke, dude was able to escape the rush, he scored a touchdown, scrambling with the ball. So it made me feel bad. I was like, I'd rather have the Bucks. I don't know. It made me think that if the Giants had snuck in, that would Tampa be in the conference championship right now? Oh boy. Ravens at Titans. Titans really, really messed up, huh? Ravens stuck it to them big time. And then they got the revenge on the logo. Bears at Saints on Nickelodeon. I feel bad for kids watching it. And they said the ratings were good. I think it was like 2.5 million viewers or something like that. But you have to think that the majority of those viewers were like people my age, who grew up on Nickelodeon and were watching it for nostalgia, and just curious to see how the hell Nickelodeon was going to pull off a NFL football game. And it didn't, it didn't disappoint in a lot of ways, but it was still kind of awkward. There was an F-bomb dropped. What's his name is so good though. Oh, I can't. Nate Burleson, right? Nate Burleson. He has got a very blindingly bright future ahead of him. I feel like he held the broadcast together. He was able to appeal to I don't know. I can't speak for the younger demo, but I know he appealed to me. The fact that he was able to take a lot of what was going on in the field and turn it into like educational moments, teaching moments, but also relate it to Nickelodeon characters, franchises, etc. I thought he did a really awesome job. I don't and I hate to knock kids, but you could tell like the kid that they got on the sideline, I know people loved him because he brought a lot of energy, but the kid on the sideline and the kid in the booth, the girl, it was just like, whoa, dude. Maybe they needed to prep more, or I don't know. I know I'm being like such a dickhead critic right now, but it's just them having fun. But at the same time, it's just like, I really like the punts. The ball goes far. Something. It's just like, does it have to be like that? Like, can it be a little? I don't know. But they could not have picked a less exciting game for that Nickelodeon broadcast. I feel like that sucks for Nickelodeon because they did. I feel like for the most part they did such a great job, promoting it. And I tuned into like the SpongeBob SquarePants like pregame, and everything they did, graphically was awesome. It was just the actual content, the product on the field stunk, dude. Other than that one dropped pass from the Bears, it was just a snooze fest. And I feel bad because it's like, if that was the game that you were hoping would turn a generation of youngins onto the sport, I know that a few people said that it's the first time their kids wanted to watch the game with them, like parents. But, I think maybe they should have put on Browns Steelers, or maybe like, I don't know, Colts Bill. I don't know, something that is going to get you a little more than what the Bears gave you. Blah. The divisional round, the Bills took it to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson had a rough go of it, and I guess he had to leave the game. And then that dude Huntley, like, what happened to Trace McSorley and RG3? I feel like RG3 like had a hammy problem like a month ago, and then Trace McSorley, like, did he get a concussion or like what? Or is it ACL? Oh, it might have been ACL. But this Huntley dude, I don't know. I don't think he played that bad in relief. He actually was able to scramble and pick up some positive yards. So, but the Bills are a wagon. Holy crap. And it's interesting to see what a difference just having like 6,000 fans in the stands can make, because like the players are just not used to it. They've been playing to empty stadiums, and then to actually have a crowd react that's not, programmed by computer, it must be a little jarring for them. Rams, Packers. I had a feeling the Packers were going to take it to them. Aaron Donald was banged up. Goff's banged up. The Rams were just the walking wounded. So, it seems like Aaron Rodgers was just toying with everyone. Browns, Chiefs. This one I got so wrong. I thought, okay, Chiefs -10, take the points and the over, because the Chiefs, they don't play a lot of defense. They're all offense, and the Browns have the ability to get into these kind of shootout type games. They had the shootout with the Ravens, back on, was it Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night football? And it looks like the Browns, I missed like the entire first half. I think I like fell asleep. I took a nap. Because, to get the kid to take a nap is like, you have to take a nap. So, all right, I get it. And I think the Browns, they had a chance, and they blew it when they, people keep talking about the Bill Belichick rule, and I think Joe Judge has adopted it. And when he talked about when Evan Ingram, dove and reached out the ball and like got it knocked out of bounds, can't do it. The risk far outweighs the reward. And I think that was the turning point in the game, because that was, they're probably going to score there, and then it's a much closer game. And then Mahomes goes out. So who knows what happens after that. But you got to feel like the Browns could be a contender moving forward. I know that Phillip Rivers retired. Drew Brees is probably going to retire. He didn't look great. And I was listening to part of my take, and they were like shitting all over Drew Brees, being like, he can't make throws. It's like, dude, he broke like every rib in his body and came back. Like, of course, he's not going to be able to throw like he used to, unless he's pulling a Brett Favre and just like having, getting injected with all kinds of painkillers all up and down his body. But Tom Brady, holy shit, dude. I love that meme that was out. That was like a number of years in the NFC since 1997. Dallas Cowboys 24, Tom Brady 1. Number of appearances in the NFC National NFC Conference Championship since 1997. Like Dallas Cowboys 0, Tom Brady 1. At Chihuahua. I was wrong on that game too. I don't think I won one friggin' bet this entire time. Or maybe I won. Did I win? Maybe I did win Rams Packers. Oh, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Browns Steelers. The Browns Steelers game was like, how the hell were the Steelers 12-4? I mean, how the hell were they 12-4? What the actual F? I'm not a big gambler. I do gamble a lot, but it's very low, bets, $3, $5, $1. Like very rarely will I go up to $25 or even $50. It has to be like one of the no-brainer bets that DraftKings does. And I laid down like the biggest parlay bet that I've ever done, because it was like 100% profit boost or something like that. And the max bet was 50. And I was like, there's no way I lose on this. So I bet, God dang, man. I did Ravens money line, Steelers -6. $50. Ravens won, Steelers got smoked. And you know what? I blame myself. Sorry, Pittsburgh. It's on me. But how the hell was Steelers 12-4 this year? Good God. All they do is they just continue. They just throw. I mean, it's the defense, I guess, probably the number one defense or top 3 defense. But man, dude, they looked like Dookie. And it was kind of sad seeing Big Ben tear up a little bit on the bench. He's probably retired though, right? He's got to be like, you know what? I don't know if I want to put up with this anymore. So, championship round is set. Bucks at Packers, Bills at Chiefs. I guess the money says that it's Packers Chiefs, and to me that's the most boring Super Bowl matchup is Packers Chiefs. That's like, and they're gonna make a whole storyline about it's like the first Super Bowl in 1967, blah 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 blah. And you get to see Aaron Rodgers versus Pat Mahomes, and I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. For one reason or another, I think Buccaneers Bills would be a pretty goddamn funny and interesting Super Bowl. And I'm pulling for it hard. I would love to see Tom Brady versus Josh Allen. Oh. And there's just storylines out the ass with that kind of matchup. And it's funny to see Aaron Rodgers lose again and not get the Super Bowl again. I don't know. I'd be fine with him not winning another Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. He should get one more. Just not this year. Now when you have Tom Brady, I mean, honestly, in an ideal world, I guess I wouldn't mind Packers Bills. Like Chiefs won last year, so I don't know. Outside of Chiefs fans, I don't know that you have a lot of people rooting for them to win. You got a lot of people pulling for the Bills. I think I know a lot of people don't want to see Tom Brady back in the Super Bowl, and they definitely don't want to see him to win it. But holy shit, man, if he's able to do that, does he even come back for another year? Because he's proven himself, right? If he goes to Super Bowl and wins, that's just a big FU to anyone who is like, it's Belichick. It's the Patriots, the Patriot way. It's like he rode the coattails, and he can just look at everyone and say, nope, I want a Super Bowl without them. Like, why even come back? I think he would retire. And I know he said he wants to play till he's 45, but at the same time, I don't know. Although he does seem like the kind of guy that's like, I can go back to back. What if I win 2 Super Bowls in 2 years with a new team? I mean, Tom, you're already the greatest quarterback of all time. Chill out, dude. But no, that's just not who he is. So Godspeed. I don't know. I have a Patriots fan friend who has really put it all in perspective in terms of Brady. So it's like, I know most Giants fans don't like Brady for whatever reason, but it's like, we beat him twice. Who cares? Like, he's not annoying to me because we beat him twice. The Bills, though, I think everyone's pulling for the Bills, and like Pat Mahomes has like this weird concussion protocol that I don't know. I'm in a group chat where they're like, oh, concussion protocols don't exist in the postseason, or like they bend the rules in the postseason concussion protocol because it's Pat Mahomes. But if he doesn't play, I think you're looking at Bills Mafia going to Tampa. Dude, the Super Bowl's in Tampa. I mean, how do you not root for the Buccaneers to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium and then have the Bills try and go in there and dethrone them on their home turf? That to me is the more appealing of the two Super Bowls for show. Other NFL news, Doug Peterson got fired. I guess, most people would take the high road and say like, oh, you should never like gloat over someone losing their job, but like, good, dude. Good. What a dick. I know. Win more than 6 games. You can repeat that until you're blue in the face. And I'm still going to tell you, well, Doug Peterson took out Jalen Hurts in the 4th. There were rumors that he was going to go to the Jets. And I was like, oh, that's rich. You're going to go to the Jets? That'll be funny. It's not like you're not going to hear nonstop from the New York metropolitan area about what you did to us. And no, it turns out they hired Robert Saleh from the Rams defensive coordinator, who seems like he's nothing but raving recommendations from like Richard Sherman and everyone in the 49ers organization. So it looks like the Jets are back on the right path. They fired Adam Gase, or they parted ways with Adam Gase. It's just like, the Mets terminated Jared Porter. It's like, you got fired. I've been fired enough times to know I got fired. When firing is firing. And then, so the Jets get Salah, and then now they have opportunity to possibly trade for Deshaun frickin' Watson. Whew. I mean, can you imagine? Like, what kind of package? I mean, the packages that I've seen put out there seem obscene. Like, to give up that much, it feels like hey, we're going to trade like half our roster for Herschel Walker. That kind of thing. We're going to trade everyone for Ricky Williams. But, everyone keeps saying he's an elite quarterback, top 5 quarterback. He's only 25. And you give up Sam Darnold, this year's first, next year's first. How far are you willing to go? And the odds are that he will return to Houston because there's a new coaching regime, new GM, but it's like they're already off on a really bad foot because they said they would consult with him and they didn't. And why, if you're Houston, you don't want to give up on like a generational talent, but at the same time, you can get a pretty good, decent haul back. And who knows how you can flip those picks and whatnot. So I don't know. Who is it? It's Nick Caserio's the GM now. And then who's the is it McDaniels? No. McDaniels might go to Philly. I forget who it is, but. And then I guess the most recent news was that he got a new car and it's jet green. That's what his agent said. Like, oh, okay. But I think he would make a killing in New York. If he's able to bring the Jets back to prominence, the fact that the Jets, yeah. It's more than a quarterback though, isn't it? It seems like there is going to be a bunch of 49ers that follow Salah. So the Jets are in a nice position. I really feel like they can compete next year. Maybe not make the playoffs, but they'll be hard to beat, and they'll be in the playoff hunt. That playoff hunt graphic, in December, which is all you can ask for. All right, suck Giants. PFF released their final 2020 offensive line rankings. Coming in at number 6 was the Washington football team. And coming into the season, they were ranked 29th. And I remember that episode where we went over PFF's preseason rankings of the offensive lines and them being 29th. And so, yeah, they're definitely one of the biggest surprises on this list. Cornelius Lucas provided stability. Wes Schweitzer on the left side. Chase Roulier, Brandon Scherf, and Morgan Moses. I mean, Brandon Scherf is the only one I know, the guard. Eagles came in at 19th, which is, I mean, I'm at a loss for words right now, because the fact that the Eagles and Cowboys are ranked above the Giants on this list is astounding, considering the Giants had 0 linemen lost to injury. Of course, Hernandez went out because of COVID. Thomas missed a few snaps because of the ankle, but, we were pretty much 100% healthy the entire season, and we still ranked below the Eagles and the Cowboys, who were literally signing guys off the streets to play for them. The Eagles were ranked 19th. They lost their starting left tackle, their starting right guard to injury before the season even began, and 11 different offensive linemen played at least 50 snaps for them this season, and they ranked 19th. Holy shit. Cowboys are ranked 27th. But that's because they didn't have Tyron Smith. They didn't have Zach Martin for most of the year, and they did not have La'el Collins. And they still ranked above our starting 5 that had, were together the whole 16. Giants ranked next to last, 31st. Here's what PFF had to say. With 1 year in the books, the Giants can't be feeling good about their decision to take Andrew Thomas as the first tackle off the board in last year's draft. That's not true, given the season he had compared to the tackles selected after him. He also played injured, and he also had a very good second half, especially a good last quarter of the season. Thomas allowed 57 pressures this season, 14 more than any other player at the position. Only player at the position to be charged with 10 sacks allowed. Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez both allowed pressure rates of at least 8% at left guard. Cameron Fleming allowed 6 most pressures in the league at the right tackle position. I don't know. I mean, the first half was pretty brutal. They really were. I would say they deserved a 31st ranking in the first half. Second half, I completely disagree. I mean, yeah, they had a pretty shitty game against the Cardinals, but I think they are much more improved, and 31st is just an insult. Like I said, Thomas had an ankle injury that was probably a lot worse than people suspected. He had ankle surgery after the season-long issue to correct the issue that was known when he entered the league and had nagged him since training camp. If it's known when you entered the league, why didn't you fucking take care of it before you played, motherfucker? But it's good to know that he's corrected the issue. And so, as good as he played towards the end of the season in 2020, he's going to, my belief is he's going to carry that over to 2021. I think Big Blue View came out with their list of, they ran down the list of impending 2021 free agents on the Giants roster. And they went through who to keep and who to bring back. I mostly agreed with what their assessment was. They want to keep Leonard Williams, let Kyler Fackrell go, mostly because I can't say his name without stumbling over it. Jesus. They want to keep Fleming. Okay. Insurance. I got you. They want to keep Colt McCoy. I say let him go. I think he's okay. He somehow didn't lose the game for us against Cincinnati. Not that he was that impressive. I think he had one good clutch throw in that game. The Seahawks game, it was like, just don't fuck it up. And then the Browns game, he missed a couple of open touchdowns. So I'm okay with moving on from him if they are. They want to let Nate Ebner go. I'm fine with that. And they want to let Dion Lewis go. I'm fine with that. It's just like, I don't know that Joe Judge is okay with that because those are like his boys from New England, his time in New England. They're going to keep Dalvin Tomlinson, let Jabal Sheard go, which kind of bittersweet because I think Sheard had a moment there where it looked like he was going to be a viable pass rusher and helping us out. You know, the clutch sack and strip against Cincinnati. They want to let Alfred Morris go. I think I'm fine with that. Let CJ Board go. Okay. Keep Austin Mack. Okay. Keep Adrian Colbert. All right. And then keep Wayne Gallman. I think the issue here is I was trying to figure out what the hell the salary cap situation is going to be because I don't know that you're going to be able to keep Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson and Wayne Gallman. I don't know that you're going to keep all three and then expect to like make a splash in free agency with like a big signing. It's just not going to happen. So what are our team needs? We need this is according to the Draft Network, I think, but also PFF and basically everyone else. Edge rusher, okay. Linebacker, wide receiver, corner, tight end, interior offensive line, tackle, safety, running back in that order. So the interior offensive line, offensive tackle kind of surprised me because it's like, it feels, as much as they say like our rankings, you know, you look at the PFF rankings for like Shane Lemieux, Will Hernandez, and the like, I don't know. I don't think that we're that bad in the interior. Call me crazy. I just think that I guess Zeitler has one more year on his contract and he's kind of expensive. So maybe they'll look to shed his contract and trade him. I don't know that you want to cut him because it's still, I hate dead money. And I know dead money is probably better than taking on a bloated contract that's not going to get you the returns you want. I get it. And just the thought of more dead money is pretty bad because I think we have the most dead money. If I'm not, I might be wrong about that, but we definitely have a lot of dead money on the books. So I don't know. I feel like maybe Hernandez had an off year. Lemieux seems to have the confidence of the fan base and the coaches. It's just he's got to work on his pass protection. So that came as kind of a surprise. Offensive tackle too, because it seems like Parrott is going to be there at some point. We're going to get Nate Solder back. I think, maybe not. His future is up in the air. So maybe you do want to draft an offensive tackle because you have Fleming's a free agent. And are you willing to start Parrott already, even if, Thomas is your guy? So I would think they would. It all hinges on what Solder's up to and if they re-sign Fleming. Linebacker, I don't know, dude. We have so many linebackers, that if you're going to draft a linebacker or pick up a free agent linebacker, they got to be like top of the top of the top. I think you got Blake inside. Tay Crowder was pretty good inside. Outside, we had some injuries, Zoe Carter and Eugene Zimenez, but if they come back healthy, I don't know. Wide receiver to me is one of the bigger needs, in my opinion, because I don't know that you can continue to roll with what you have there. And I wouldn't mind a corner. I know corner was not really listed as a need by PFF, but do we really have the utmost confidence in Julian Love moving to the outside corner? And we're going to get Sam Beal back, I think. So maybe corner isn't as much of a high priority, but man, if you could get it's tempting. It's tempting to roll to try and select like a top-notch cornerback or bring in a average to slightly above average cornerback opposite James Bradbury, because then it's like the edge rusher maybe is not as needed. A lot of the sacks that Leonard Williams had this year were basically like coverage sacks. So if you're going to re-sign him, then it looks like you're probably not going to go after an edge rusher. Could be wrong though. Safety is interesting because you have Logan Ryan for 2-3 more years. Then you have Xavier McKinney for another 2-3 years. But Jabril Peppers next year is basically his last year. And I don't even want to put this out into the friggin' atmosphere, but like 0 dead cap if we cut Jabril Peppers. But why? He's just such a force. Same with Evan Ingram, by the way. Evan Ingram, 0 dead cap if we cut him. I'm not saying we should, but it's like you look at those two guys and you're like, man, if everyone else comes with dead cap, if we cut them, what do we cut? So I was thinking about this. I believe the tight end is a need. I don't know that you got much out of Levine Tololo. Maybe that's a result of Jason Garrett's scheme. And, we saw the regression with Caden Smith where he's not being used as much. Evan Ingram, I don't think is the answer, given his troubles catching the ball and, mostly at most targets, like going for turnovers, drop passes, etc. So what are the teams that have tight end as a primary team need? And like maybe we can put together a package where we can send them Ingram and get something back in return. Maybe trade up to get a wide receiver, because I don't think the big 3 receivers on the draft board are going to be there for us. But there are 5 teams that we could trade Ingram to that could probably make the most use out of him. Number 1. All right, so I'll go 5-1. 5 is the Carolina Panthers. I don't like trading in conference, especially to Matt Rule. But Gettleman probably I don't know if Gettleman has a relationship with the Panthers still, or maybe they've shut off all communication with him. So I don't think this is as likely as it would be given the circumstances. So I could probably rule that out. But next one is another in-conference foe, Arizona Cardinals. I don't know. You got DeAndre Hopkins. You got Kyler Murray. You got mixing a little Evan Ingram. Who knows? Maybe Cliff Kingsbury has the secret potion to awaken him. Easy E. But I'd opt for not trading to those 2 teams. And the top 3 would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I think now that they've got Trevor Lawrence, they probably want to give him some targets like they did for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. So I think that's a good fit. Out of conference, a team that feels like it's making some moves. The Houston Texans. So if they are really in this interesting mode where like they might dish Watson and take on Darnold or take on another quarterback, they probably want to appease the fan base to some extent to help heal the wounds and give them a viable target. And then the number 1 team is the New England Patriots. I don't know, part of me thinks that maybe Belichick and Judge are talking and that there might be a connection there. They need a tight end. They haven't really had one since, Gronk. So maybe the Evan Ingram's the answer. And who knows what Belichick does with them. But those are the 5 teams I think Evan Ingram could go to if we decide to trade him. PFF also had, they ranked the NFL's top 100 free agents and predicted where they would sign, which was very interesting. Number 4 was Kenny Golladay. And their prediction is that the Lions are going to franchise tag him. But if Detroit decides not to franchise tag him, they believe that the Giants are going to sign him for 4 years, $85 million with $57.5 million guaranteed. Total guaranteed. $37.5 million fully guaranteed. It's like, $20 million a year. Ooh, I don't know. I mean, if he had played all 16 games this year and caught, had 1,000 yards receiving and, 10 touchdowns, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's just that hip thing. I had him on my fantasy team. Okay. I feel a little butthurt about it because it's like, dude, every week it was like questionable, out. Like, okay, great. Thanks. So I'm a little butthurt about it, but big body guy. They need a big body receiver. I'm not as high on this as I was. So what's weird here is I don't know if they're saying if the Giants don't sign Galladay. I kind of put this note here because, the salary cap, like I said, the salary cap situation is a little cloudy at the moment. So it's like, if we do sign Kenny Galladay, is PFF saying that we're also going to sign Curtis Samuel, Carolina Panthers receiver, who's the 43rd ranked, who's 43rd on their list of free agents? I don't know that we're going to get both. If we get both, whoa, I just financially don't think it's possible. So in my head, I'm thinking if we don't sign Galladay, then we can sign Curtis Samuel. And honestly, I almost feel better about signing Curtis Samuel than I do Kenny Galladay. It's a lot of money to give to Galladay. Samuel, it feels like he's a little more, fits better within just the culture, the philosophy, and not having like that crazy high contract receiver. The PFF estimates 3 years, $25 million annually. So it would be $8 million annually. 15 million guaranteed, 10 million fully guaranteed at signing, which dude, we're paying Golden Tate like 10 million a year. So if you can, and Samuel's like what, 20, he's like 26, 27. So I like that deal a lot. And I like it because it at least gives us a little more flexibility with trying to fill in some other need positions, or to re-sign the 20th ranked free agent, 20th best free agent on PFF's list, Leonard Williams. Of course, they predict that the Panthers are going to sign him for 4 years, $80 million. $47.5 million total guaranteed, $32.5 million fully guaranteed. I mean, we franchise tagged him at what, 16, 17 million for the year. And we thought, we'll re-sign him for like 5 years, 4 years, 15 mil a year, 20 mil a year, dude. I don't know if I'd be willing to pay that. Meanwhile, Dalvin Tomlinson comes in at number 39 on their list. And they do believe that we're going to re-sign him 4 years, 52.5 mil for an annual per year average of 13.125 mil with 26.5 mil guaranteed. And almost 17 mil fully guaranteed at signing. I mean, yeah, you got to keep one of them. You can't lose both. That's for sure. So, and I had said before, if you're gonna let one walk, maybe it is Leonard Williams. But then he put on a goddamn show towards the end there. When I was talking about that, it was early on. It was like maybe trade deadline or earlier. So like October, I was talking about that, and I was like, probably want to let Leonard walk. But given that, 20 mil a year, and is he going to give you 11 and a half sacks again? And then it kind of like rolls out you getting an edge rusher. Whereas maybe if you go with Tomlinson, you can still find that edge rusher who can make up for the loss of production from Leonard Williams. And then I thought this one was interesting too, there's two more actually. One's not so much a prediction, more of a suggestion, but at number 45, we have Yannick Ngakoue. And the prediction here is the Giants signed Ngakoue for 4 years, 70 mil with 30 million fully guaranteed at signing. And I don't hate that. I know he only had like 8 or 9 sacks, but he's had 8 or more sacks in the past 2 or more seasons or something like that. And, we saw what he did when we played him in Baltimore. So I think that's a reasonable price considering like that's what we need you to get pressures and sacks and hits. And so if he can come close to putting up the numbers that Leonard Williams did, on the edge from a quarterback pressure standpoint, then, we're basically, it's a 1-for-1 almost. Whereas, but the fact that I don't know that we're going to get all of those people, dude. We're not going to make all those signings. That's not going to happen unless we get really creative with restructuring contracts, which I tried to do on Spot Track and it didn't work out like I thought. But this is not a prediction, but more of a suggestion. PFF also thinks the Giants should target Hassan Reddick, the edge rusher the linebacker from the Arizona Cardinals, who is entering free agency. He's from Camden, New Jersey, went to Temple, and kind of had a breakout year this year where he was playing like less than 60% of snaps the first, I want to say half of the season. Then he was playing pretty much every snap in the second half. So they kind of I guess they figured it out. Finished with 12.5 sacks and 6 forced fumbles. But you got to keep in mind, he had himself a freaking day against the goddamn Giants when he had 5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So it's like, take away that game, what is he really? And you got to also keep in mind that was Daniel Jones at his probably least mobile. He was extremely immobile with that hamstring and ankle injury. Hamstring coming into it, and then ankle that he suffered during the game early on. So I'm not so high on Hassan Reddick. Spot Track has him valued at $9.1 million per year. And he would only be the 13th highest paid outside linebacker in the NFL. This is one of those things where it's like, do you want to risk it for the biscuit? You know what I'm saying? And I don't. Pro Football Focus, a very PFF heavy podcast. PFF ranked the Giants pass rush 19th in the NFL, which I feel is a little low. But then again, I always feel like the rankings are low. So I took a look at the top 8 pass rushes in the NFL, according to PFF. Number 8 were the Bucks. They're in the NFC Conference Championship. Number 7, the Saints. They were in the NFC Divisional round. Number 6 is the Buffalo Bills. They're in the AFC Conference Championship. Number 5 is the Washington Football Team, won the NFC East and advanced to the wild card. Number 4 is the Chicago Bears, NFC wild card. Number 3, Los Angeles Rams, NFC Divisional round. Number 2, Eagles. And then number 1, the Steelers, AFC wild card. So I know 14 teams made the playoffs this year, so it's almost half the league. But it says something that, the pass rush has to be, average or better for us to make the playoffs and to advance. Now, for the other playoff teams this year, that where did they rank in terms of pass rush? The Browns were 11, Colts were 14, Packers were 15. Chiefs were 22, Ravens were 24, which I thought was really surprising. Seahawks were 28, and the Titans were 31st. So super interesting there. And the Giants are ranked 19th. Here's what PFF had to say. The Giants' top 4 top 4 players in pressures all came from interior defensive linemen: Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, and B.J. Hill. They all produced more quarterback pressures than their edge defender, Kyler Fackrell, with 19. So, yeah, edge rusher, super important. That being said, we didn't have Lorenzo Carter for a long period of time. We didn't have O'Shane Ximines. Those two were considered, Ximines more so than Carter, but it seemed like Carter was coming around. That was like the word early on in the season or in the preseason, was that he was going to be more of a pass rush threat. So you have those two, but damn, it would be nice to have like a certified G when it comes to pass rush. So Yannick Ngakoue. Someone get the jersey swap going. What potential backup running backs could the New York Giants seek in free agency should Wayne Gallman sign elsewhere, which I really hope he doesn't. I'm all aboard the Wayne train. I love him. I love him. And I hope he comes back because I think it was a renaissance for him. He was forgotten by Shermer for sure. He was buried, by McAdoo. Well, wasn't necessarily buried by McAdoo, but definitely under Shermer. He just was forgotten, and he had a resurgence this year. And I think he earned serious consideration to come back, seriously, bro. But, business is business. Who knows how Wayne feels about the situation. But this list is like, the first running back on the list is Leonard Fournette. Writer said that he could be used as a goal line option and short yardage. And to that, I say no thanks. Do you forget Saquon Barkley is a goddamn beast? I think he's fine in short yardage and goal line situations, dude. There's no one I'd rather have in a goal line situation than Saquon Barkley. So I'm out on Leonard Fournette. And there's also a pretty good possibility that if they go and win the Super Bowl, like, why wouldn't Fournette just decide, like, hey, let's do it again? But I don't know. It all depends on what Tom Brady does, I think. Number 2 is James White. This one seems like the most logical, or not logical, but the most realistic pickup. Is Patriots running back. He has familiarity with Joe Judge, and he has pass catching abilities, which would be a nice change of pace which is what I think a lot of people expected out of Deion Lewis this year. And that never, it's like, why didn't we throw to Deion Lewis more? It's very weird. So yeah, I think of the 5, that one just fits the best, James White. Number 3 is Jerick McKinnon, which I don't hate, but he did miss all of 2018, 2019 with injuries. I don't know that we want to bring in a backup that's getting hurt. And then 4 is Carlos Hyde. He's 31, big bruiser. Again, goal line short yardage. I don't think we need that. And then Marlon Mack is an interesting option. That if James White wasn't available, I think I would lean towards Marlon Mack. He rushed for 1,000 yards in 2019, but he only played in 1 game in 2020. I know I completely contradicted myself with the whole injury talk about McKinnon, but I don't know. I could see Mack doing his thing in blue and red. So we talked about the last episode. We talked about the PFF mock draft and how Devontae Smith was at fell to us at 11, and that the Eagles were taking a Trey Lance at 6 or whatever. And I was like, this is not real. What is going on? I don't think I understand what's happening. So in this latest PFF mock draft, there's going to be like a new mock draft each week. So it's going to be a little maddening. And I actually did 3 mock drafts of my own because I'm psychotic. But they have the Eagles taking Devontae Smith at 6, which makes more sense. And to be honest, I don't see any of the 3 receivers dropping to us. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. I just don't see it. I think the teams ahead of us have that need to pick up a receiver. And I did the rundown. You got to figure Jags go quarterback. Jets, who knows? I mean, it was, we're going to go quarterback. Darnold's not the answer. To now we're going to trade Darnold to get Watson, but then that means you're not going to get a top receiver because you have to trade that first pick. So do they stick with Darnold and not trade for Watson? And then they probably go receiver. But then you have like the Bengals, the Lions. There are a bunch of teams ahead of us that need receivers. So I just don't see any of them coming down to us. And, when I posted that video on YouTube, there was a comment that said Devontae Smith is too skinny and that we need to go for an edge rusher. And they suggested, I'm going to butcher this, Quitty Pay. Definitely sounds like a rapper. Awesome name. I mean, I can dig it. So, and after doing a little brief research and going through all these mock drafts, it feels like Quiddy Pay is the guy to go for if the receivers are off the board. I think the Cowboys will have their receivers in place, so they're not going to go with a receiver. They're probably going to stick with the cornerback, Caleb Farley at 10. But this latest mock draft had the Giants picking tight end Kyle Pitts from Florida. He generated a 96.2 PFF grade this year. And 6'6", 240, caught 43 passes, 770 yards, and 12 touchdowns this season for Florida. Was named first team All-American and received the John Mackey Award, which goes to the nation's top tight end. He dominated unlike any other tight end we'd ever seen when he lined up out wide in single coverage. Pitts went toe-to-toe press coverage when lined up out wide for 40 receiving snaps this season and came away with 7 explosive receptions of 15-plus yards or more on those opportunities. We have never seen a tight end record more than 2 of those in a single year before Pitts this season. So, okay. If you're going to move on from Evan Ingram, I wouldn't mind moving on to that. So I did 3 mock drafts. And in the first one, I did decide to stick with Kyle Pitts. I got a B for PFF. It's like, yo, dude, you guys just said they should select him, and now you're going to give me a B. And then in a second pick, I went the needs that PFF had said for us, there were only 2 needs according to them: guard and edge rusher, which I thought was a little bananas. So I kind of tried to stick to that. And so I went with Wyatt Davis from Ohio State with the 43rd overall pick. I got a B+. And then I went edge rusher with the next 2, Tyreek Smith from Ohio State and Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. Then I went a center from BC and then a guard from Notre Dame with the last 2 picks. Overall draft grade of a B. The next mock draft one I did go Kwity Paye with the first one. I got an A, so I liked it a lot. And I feel like we should definitely, thank you, YouTube commenter, we should go with Kwity Paye as the edge rusher with our first pick overall. And then I went linebacker with the next one, Chaz Surratt from North Carolina. And then I went center, Ronnie Perkins again. I don't know, he just kept jumping out at me. And I went Tommy Kramer again, guard from Notre Dame. And with the last pick, I went Whop Philyor, wide receiver from Indiana. That one got a B+. So not bad. And then the last one, I went with Jalen. Jalen Waddle was available. I don't know how, but he was. I got an A for that. And then I went with Wyatt Davis again and Tommy Kramer, Creed Humphrey. And then the other 2 that I hadn't drafted yet were Brenton Cox Jr., edge rusher from Florida. And then Trill Williams, a cornerback from Syracuse. I can't pass up on a dude named Trill. That's too Trill. Yeah, so, I mean, the options that we're looking at for that first pick, realistically, Kyle Pitts, tight end, Kwity Paye, edge rusher from Michigan. I don't know that Chase, Waddle, or Smith are going to fall to us. Would be nice, but I don't think so. So that's the Giants. Let's talk Mets. What a whirlwind of a couple of weeks in Mets land. You know, we had the huge trade later on in the week, January 7th or 8th, that sent Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green to the Indians for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. It was hot and cold, this one, because initially I was so turned off by the thought of trading, Jimenez for Lindor. But this is I've heard from top down, left to right, north, south, all around that this is a steal in the Mets' favor. So it stinks that we have to see Jimenez leave. I was more inclined to let Rosario go and hopefully, maybe package like JD Davis or, something like that. But no dice. And we have to see Jimenez go. I think Jimenez is going to be electric. And he's so young. He's young. And he's going to be good for years to come. And Rosario, I guess that they would put, I don't know, if you're the Indians, you put Rosario, I guess you put Rosario third and Jimenez at short. But Lindor and Carrasco, I think the sweetest part of this is the Carrasco part, really, because he fills a need in the starting rotation. 4-time All-Star shortstop Francisco Lindor. So 27. They just went through arbitration, so he's owed $22 million this year. If he doesn't sign the extension long term, is this trade good? Well, it all depends on what you do this year. If you go out and win the World Series, I'd say, yeah, I guess worth it. But if you don't, if you don't make the playoffs and you don't re-sign him, that's going to go down as not a great trade. But you can't really blame, the Mets for taking their shot, So, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, American League Platinum Glove for the best overall defender in 2016, 2-time Silver Slugger. I mean, what do you want to? Third in majors with 250 extra base hits since 2017, third in runs scored, fifth in hits, 12th in homers, 17th in stolen bases, top 15 in most valuable player voting, ultimate zone rating. Jesus Christ. He's third highest rating among all players behind Mookie Betts and Andrelton Simmons. /285, 346, 480 with 191 doubles, 138 homers, 411 RBIs, and 99 stolen bases in less than 800 games during his 6 years with Cleveland. And he smiles a lot. He's Mr. Smile. So I'm happy we got him, but it's really got to work out a long-term deal, because if you don't, you're kind of screwed. You let Rosario go, you let Jimenez go, and then your next up would be their top prospect, Ronnie Mauricio, who's probably I think they said 2-3 seasons away, maybe. And then Carrasco is 33, led the AL with 18 wins in 2017. AL Comeback Player of the Year after fighting leukemia. Roberto Clemente Award for his philanthropic efforts. He seems like a really nice dude. So they got 2 really nice guys. They didn't get 2 assholes, which is great. I think it goes towards the culture that they're trying to build, which is, it's a little tough right now because, of what happened with Jared Porter. Jimenez is only 22. Ooh, Rosario's only 25. But I know, can't think that way. You can't think that way. So, George Springer signed with the Blue Jays 6 years. 6 years, $150 million. And he is 31, and he's going to be 31. So, we'll check in when he's 36, 37, see how that contract's panned out. I know I went into this saying that, he should be our top guy, that he's the one I want over Bauer, over Real Muto, over everyone else. But there's a limit, and I think there are other viable options out there. Jackie Bradley Jr., 2018 Gold Glover, produced 49 defensive runs saved in center field over the past 7 seasons. 814 OPS over 55 games last season. So, Gold Glover who can get on base. Isn't that all we need, all we're asking for? Our offense, I needed a little gentle reminder today, but the Mets had the 3rd best offense in the majors last year. So it's just a matter of, if we can get a guy that can save a run here or there and also get on base, and would probably be, not a fraction of the cost, but definitely not $150 million over 6 years. 20 some odd million. No, I'm fine with JBJ. Come on board, bro. So if JBJ is not an option, there have been suggestions about right-handed bats like Kevin Pillar, or possibly bringing back Jake Marisnick. So I think if everything goes to shit, I'm completely fine with Jake Marisnick coming back. Familiar face, was hurt, but when he played well. So, I'm not as like bummed out by not getting Springer as I originally thought I was going to be. It's not like my heart got torn out. I think we'll be all right. We also traded for Joey Lucchesi. Padres got Joe Musgrove, who was one of the guys that I had mentioned could be an option if Marcus Stroman didn't accept his qualifying offer. Turns out the Padres get him. Padres are going to be a fucking problem this year. Mets got Joey Lucchesi, and then the Pirates got Hudson Head, David Bugnar, Omar Cruz, Jake Fellows, and we gave up Endy Rodriguez. Lucchesi's 6'5", 225, and he's age 27. Has like 3 years of service under his belt. His career ERA is over 4, and he let up 5 earned runs in 5 2/3 last season before being optioned in early August. So not a big flashy splash type acquisition, but big lefty who could maybe eat up some innings. I mean, he did start, I think, 25 games in 18 and 30 games in 2019. And it looked like he was improving from 2019 was improvement over 2018, and then he took a big step back in 2020. But who knows why? Maybe it's the COVID. So I know that we were also interested in Brad Hand, and I honest to God thought it was going to happen. I thought like, oh, nice, we're going to sign fucking Brad Hand. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the deets. And then no, it's like the Blue Jays are just deciding that they're just going to fucking put all their chips in the middle of the table. And, there was a talk of that they were going to also sign Michael Brantley because he's boys with George Springer, but Brantley returned to the Astros. So, but like the Blue Jays are like in on every hot stove rumor, speculation, tracker, whatever has the Blue Jays in on that player. It's absurd. And even after Springer, it's like they just still have money to spend. And I would be shocked if they don't go to the friggin' World Series. All right, maybe not shocked, but they if they don't go past the first round of the playoffs, that's got to be an abject failure on that team's part, barring injury, of course. So maybe we don't get Brad Hand, which sucks. And then the other options, if we don't get Brad Hand, are Justin Wilson and Jake McGee. Again, familiarity trumps all, in my opinion. Bring back Justin Wilson, dude. I'm cool with that. I mean, our bullpen is like nothing to be ashamed of by any means, dude. Trevor May, Dylan Betances, Brad Brock, Edwin Diaz, Seth Lugo. Whew. I mean, we're talking like elite type stuff, y'all. What free agents could fill the Mets rotation? There's Bauer, obviously. Jake Odorizzi, Masahiro Tanaka. But Tanaka, this is kind of an old article, so I think it's between the Yankees and Japan for Tanaka. And then the ones that the guy that I've been kind of hoping there's been more talk around is Taejuan Walker. And then they also listed Garrett Richards in the same breath. Walker and Richards are linked as former first-round draft picks who underwent Tommy John surgery in 2018 and returned to prove their health in 2020. Walker submitted the more dominant performance over the shortened season, posting a 2.7 ERA with 50 strikeouts and 53 1/3. And so I mean, unless I'm mistaken in that I missed him signing somewhere, I'd like to give a closer look at Taejuan Walker. So I wouldn't hate that move. And then Odorizzi, I don't know that did he get signed by anyone? I don't think so. And he's got a relationship with Hefner. So I think Odorizzi might still be in play. So those are two guys that I wouldn't mind, pursuing Horde. Of course, you type in Jake Odorizzi and the autofill goes to Mets. So those two guys I'm high on. And then I think the other guys are pretty much, they're gone. Oh, James Paxton, I guess, is an opportunity. Corey Kluber went to the Yankees, and then Jose Quintana went somewhere. I forget where. Angels, maybe. But James Paxton, I'm kind of on him. But Taijuan Walker, Jake Odorizzi, I can get behind big time. All right. I was going to go over I guess I'll finish by talking about the Jared Porter. The Mets also signed Jose Martinez to a $1 million split contract. So if he makes a team, he makes $1 million. Right-handed bat, 32 years old. He struggled last season, but owns a career 915 OPS against lefties. Hey, we do need right-handed bats, so that's good. In terms of what else we need to do, extend Conforto. Duh. And extend Lindor. Duh. But, all right, let's just talk about Jared Porter. I mean, honestly, what the fuck? It's crazy how this news just somehow manages to come out right after we hire someone. Again, completely not defending what Jared Porter did, and I guess not really defending what Carlos Beltran did, but obviously they're two different balls of wax here. But holy macaroni, dude. 62 unanswered texts and the unsolicited dick pic. And, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but he just looks like a dude who would send that many unanswered texts and a dick pic to a reporter. And I remember just watching him, and I remember his introductory press conference where he had that nervous tick on his right eye. I could see it. And I feel for people like that, because I've been in that situation where it's just and sometimes it's just lack of sleep or stress or just something that it doesn't usually mean there's skeletons in your closet. And I'm not going to sit here on my high horse saying I don't do creepy, weirdo, evil shit. I have a history, I'm sure you can have a friggin' a line out the door around the corner of women who have their complaints about me. But I've never done 62 unanswered texts. That's kind of out of my ballpark. And I made a joke on Twitter, and it blew up. No, it didn't blow up. It went unliked, as it should. But I was like, as a baseball executive, you should probably know the 3 strikes and I'm out unanswered text policy. The most times that I think I've sent a message, I'm not talking about college, college instant messenger. Whoa, dude, I went a little overboard because I don't think I really fully understood instant messenger, because it was kind of new. Was it not in 98, 99, 2000? I was in the AOL chat rooms in 95, 96. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not going to say I'm better than this person and then I haven't done anything like that, but that's intense. Especially as was he 30 and having not grown up with AOL chat rooms and instant messenger, it's just you just have to know better than that. And it's crazy that, the Cubs didn't know about it. The Diamondbacks didn't know it. Mets didn't know about it. And then it comes out 30 some odd days into his tenure as GM. And the Mets made the right move. They fired him. It's a little scary as a person who's definitely messed up in my past to know that someone digs hard enough, long enough, they're going to find something that my employer does not like and cannot be associated with, but this is I can assure everyone I never did this. But yeah, the haircut and just the overall vibe and aura he gave off was this is the least surprise. It's not surprising. 62 unanswered text, though. I guess you hit a point where it's like, it's like playing the lottery at some point. It's like, well, at some point she's going to like, I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is there. You just get in your head sometimes. I mean, it just happens sometimes. You just get in your head and you're like, well, maybe like, I just want to make sure that she knows that I'm still thinking about her a full, 2 years after we met or didn't meet. I don't know. But I understand. I didn't know the full story behind why it's coming out now as opposed to before. It's because, there's a foreign reporter who's worried about her status in her country and the backlash. And so she kept it under wraps and then I guess left her job or profession. So there's no more fear involved. And so she feels comfortable enough to come forward. So that's understandable. It's just like the timing. Couldn't you have done this like in December, November? So I guess they were saying that it looks like Zach Scott will probably be interim GM, although Sandy's like, yeah, I'm baseball ops and I'm GM and I'll do everything else. I don't care anymore. Good old Sandy. But Zach Scott, a pretty good hire. And I know that he was on the list of candidates. So, it looks like we're back to square one with the GM search. Oh boy, just when you think things are going good. But, there were some interesting questions though about like that Sandy had to field, like, why don't you do an FBI type background investigation before you hire someone? It's like, I guess now we have to. I didn't know that we had to do like that intense a background investigation. And then someone else said, well, did you ask any women about him? And it's like, well, no, there weren't a lot of women in our, cabinet, if you will, our consultation giving recommendations. So it's something where, I don't know, slippery slope. Where does it end? That's kind of where my head goes. You're going to ask, okay, well, we've asked a white woman about this man, but what about a black woman? What about a Asian woman? What about a Hispanic woman? What about it's like you almost need a representative from every possible race and gender and identity to make a decision on a person before hiring them. That's just where my mind goes. It goes to extremes and it's unhealthy. I get it. So with that, let's sign off before I get canceled. I'm already canceled, so who cares? I'll talk to you next week. Adios, muchachos.